Hello and welcome to CadoinkStudios. I am Cadoink here with the second game, and I paused the game as soon as I hit play. But I'm here with the second game in a best of 3 between AngryProbes and Shepp. These two players are playing in the Gold and Below tournament hosted by Animus. So thank you very much, Animus, for giving me the opportunity to be able to cast these games. And thanks, AngryProbes and Shepp, for being the players for me to cast today. So in game number 1, AngryProbes took it in a Zerg vs. Zerg on Daybreak. And so we are on game number 2. If AngryProbes takes this, he will move on to round number 2. However, if Shepp takes this, they will have to go to a third game. So without any further ado, spawning in the top right corner of Core Hall Compound, we do have Shepp, the red Zerg player. And his opponent on the bottom left is AngryProbes, the random player who in this game has spawned as the blue Terran. So Core Hall Compound is a newish map. It's only been in the ladder rotation for about 2 seasons now, and it's a map that I've quite heavily enjoyed playing on the ladder as a Terran player. As a Zerg player, I don't know how I would feel, so I don't know how Shepp feels about this map. I suppose he picked it because he did lose the first game, and so we'll see if he is able to take that because of this. So AngryProbes is doing the usual thing, putting his command center down, trying to wall off his ramp to make sure no Zerglings run up and do any damage to his mineral line. Also, it looks like he is going to be getting his gas at 13 supply, so kind of a typical build. He won't be going any kind of fast expand builds like Shepp will be. I do believe this drone is going to take a hatchery here at 15, so a 15 hatch, very normal play for Zerg. However, AngryProbes will scout this with his scouting SCV. He knows exactly what's going on. I'm sure he's played against it 1,000 times. And so I'm sure he's pretty comfortable in this situation. So eventually, we'll see whether Shepp decides to go spawning pool first, or if he's going to be putting down a gas geyser. If he doesn't get any gas for a long time, it's more of a Spanishiwa style Ice Fisher build, which is something that we haven't seen too much lately. However, we might see this in this game. Who knows, as the spawning pool did just now go down, and I do not see a gas yet. So we'll see when he opts to get his gas going. In the meantime, AngryProbes doing the usual thing, getting his command center up, his orbital command, and also opting to get another gas. So I suspect we'll see a factory here pretty soon. In fact, we do see a reactor going down on the barracks. Maybe a double Hellion sort of build, I can foresee. He doesn't have quite enough gas to be able to get that factory up yet, but when he does, I suspect he'll be putting it down and pumping out Hellions as soon as he can. In the meantime, still no gas coming out for Shepp. He's been focusing on a very strong economy. As you can see, he has a lot of drones. In fact, if we look, he has 19 drones to the 18 SCVs that AngryProbes has, and I think that includes mules. I'm not entirely sure on that one. And yes, indeed, the factory did go down. Eventually, he will be switching this so that he can be producing Hellions 2 at a time, and then producing Marines as well, and then you'll probably put down a starport eventually so that he can be getting those medevacs up. Some Zerglings finally being built by Shepp, moving across, getting on the ramp to make sure no Hellions swing by and run up. He can block that with his Zerglings and his Queen if he chooses to. And he's also going to be focusing on saturating his natural as soon as he can, so that his economy is really strong. Finally just now putting down his extractor and getting some gas, so now's the real key moment when we see what kind of tech path Shepp is going to choose to take. Will he be going for a roach play like he did in game number 1? Or will he go for something different, like perhaps a Zergling, Baneling, Mutalisk play, which is very strong against Terran players? And so we do see that the factory has been switched with the barracks, a tech lab going on to the barracks so that he can produce either combat shield or stem, whichever one he prefers to get first. And then another factory going down very interestingly, so it looks like kind of a mech-oriented play with Marines to kind of help buffer up your army. And then he's getting that stem pack up first. Recently I've been kind of leaning towards combat shield because you don't really have your medevacs out that soon, and so they can't heal your stemmed Marines, which if your Marines are stemmed, they are a lot weaker because of that. So, well, not weaker in the sense that they're less strong, but they do take some damage, and oftentimes that can make a big difference, especially if there are a lot of banelings on the field or anything like that. Finally, we have the starport going down for AngryProbes. It looks like he will be trying to produce medevacs. He's getting a tech lab on his second factory, so yeah, I'm definitely feeling kind of a mech vibe going for those double Hellions, and then perhaps siege tanks or maybe a Thor or two. We'll see how that plays out in the long run. And it looks like some more spine crawlers for Shepp. He hasn't really picked a definite tech path. He's getting 2 Evo chambers, so he will be able to get +1 defense and +1 attack for either range or melee. That'll kind of be the deciding factor on whether or not he's going to be sticking with the Zerglings. And finally, we see a Baneling nest going down, so he will be going for a Zergling, Baneling, Mutalisk sort of mix, finally getting his lair started, and then also taking a third. This is very good. He has the money to do this, and his economy is going to be very, very strong because of it. However, AngryProbes, nice play by AngryProbes. He's going to be sweeping around with his Hellions that are very, very quick and trying to pick off this as soon as they can. Sadly, though, Hellions are quite weak against building, so, well, he did get the cancel on it, so that was worth it. He really needs to push forward and try to pick off this drone, which I think he might do. Yep, there it goes. The drone will go down, and now he will be pushing into the natural. Shepp knows that this sort of play is coming, and so he has his Zerglings ready, as well as 2 spine crawlers, even going to be putting down a third. And then, of course, he has his queen here to do any additional damage. And oddly, we see a Roach Warren. I don't know if this is because he saw the Hellions and the Marines, but I don't feel like Roaches are necessarily the best choice in this situation. I would go for the Mutalisk play, so you can be swinging into the back of AngryProbes' base and attacking his SCVs. Especially considering that AngryProbes doesn't have his natural. He's not going to have a lot of Thors out. He's not even going to be able to produce that many Marines, so it's going to be very, very strong if you go Mutalisk. However, he is starting to get up his medevacs, and the medevacs will help his Marines an enormous amount. And so back in Shepp's base, we do see he is working on spreading his creep. He also has an Overseer to make sure no silly Banshee stuff is coming in. Might cast down a Changeling here and get some scouting information. And we see one of his queens is putting down yet another creep tumor. He really wants his creep to spread so he can have that crucial vision, as well as the speed to help his roaches move a little bit faster. And now it looks like he is on the offense, moving his Zerglings out, as well as his roaches, I guess kind of defending the creep tumors. And now he's moving in to try to pick off as many of the Marines and the Hellions as possible. But AngryProbes is being very good at kind of stutter-stepping his Hellions, and a lot of the Zerglings have fallen. Roaches being too slow to catch up to those Hellions will not be able to do the damage they need to do to justify them. So he will have to pull back to these spine crawlers and just kind of sit and wait. Luckily for him, Shepp has still not taken his expansion. It's finally just moving in, and so he will be saturating that up soon. I like this, putting down a bunker as soon as you can, so that you can protect your base from any kind of Zergling run-ins or anything like that. And, oh, look at this. I can hear the sound of medevacs being filled up. It looks like AngryProbes is going to be going for a drop inside of Shepp's base. I don't know whether he will go for the natural, but oh, he's bringing 2 to the top and 2 to the bottom. So it looks like he might be just trying to drop 2 places at once, unless he meant for the second one to be the one that is filled up. Oh no, AngryProbes, please realize that this one has units in it. I don't know how that will play out. And now Shepp is getting his Baneling speed up, as well as his Spire. Wow, the name totally slipped my mind. So he will be able to get Mutalisks, and then he will be able to produce Banelings, and very quick Banelings at that are very, very strong against Hellions and Marines. Luckily for AngryProbes, he is building some tanks at this time, and so the tanks will kind of be able to, well, tank the Banelings, as well as do some additional damage so that the Marines can kind of split around and survive. Engineering Bay finally going down for AngryProbes. He will be able to get those +1 upgrades that he needs. And it looks like Shepp has not... Oh, he has actually. He's got +1 for his Zerglings. So he did make use of his Evo chambers, and that's going to put him a little bit ahead, considering that, you know, his opponent does not have any upgrades other than the stem. Doesn't even have combat shield, which is a very unwise choice. He really needs to be getting that up. In fact, his production is kind of low and his money is kind of high, so he really needs to make note of that and spend as much as he can, and the best way to do that is produce units and to produce upgrades and continue to expand. And so we see 5 Mutalisks coming out right now, and oh, there was a drop in the back of his main. However, Shepp, being very good at watching his minimap, did watch for this, and he will be able to make it run away. Very nice keeping the Spore Crawler here to kind of make sure he attacks medevacs, and very good at pulling the drones, and now he's going on the offense with his Mutalisk, probably going to be trying to chase after those medevacs. However, just a little bit too late, as they will be able to escape. However, this has bought Shepp enough time to get his third back up and running, and so he will once again be economically ahead. In fact, if we look at the income tab, he is a little bit ahead already in both minerals and gas. And so he is looking very, very strong. He needs to just make sure he's continuing to produce units. And so these Mutalisks, they really need to be active. They really need to be poking into the back of the natural. They need to be poking in the back of the main. However, because they're spotted, AngryProbes is going to be putting down these turrets. So the next best thing you can do is just keep your opponent from pushing out, keep him from expanding, which he has kept his Overseer here, you know, to spot for that sort of thing. And so he will be economically ahead for quite a while. In the meantime, he's being very good about keeping his creep spread moving on. He needs to make sure he has as much as he can. It gives him very good vision and also allow him to move his roaches and his banelings a lot quicker whenever he chooses to build banelings. Banelings on creep, that's like one of the biggest nightmares a Terran player has, is you just cannot split your Marines fast enough and cannot seize your tanks fast enough to defend against that sort of thing. And so AngryProbes is kind of forced to defend right now. Actually, as soon as I say that, he decides to start to move out. However, this is the prime time for Shepp to move in with his Mutalisk. A lot of mules here and a lot of SCVs he could pick off while the Marine forces kind of run away. A few Vikings coming out for Shepp. This is very interesting. I don't believe he could have Broodlords at this time, and Vikings are not the best unit against Mutalisks. Marines are much, much better, or Thors if you have that kind of capability. And for some reason he's opting to pull back for a little bit, and then I guess he's going to be moving out finally, maybe rallying with a few more units. And we'll see how this engagement turns out for him. Shepp in the meantime is moving around trying to keep the watchtowers, and it looks like he's going to run right past AngryProbes' army. However, very luckily for him, he did not fly over the Marines, and so his Mutalisk will continue to survive. And +1 attack is just about to finish, and so that's going to make these Mutalisks a lot more scary, as they will have a bit of an upgrade advantage to the Marines, which only have 1 attack and 0 armor. In fact, working on the +2 for his Zerglings attack speed, just attack damage, so they will be able to do a lot of damage. However, looks like AngryProbes is going to be moving out across the map and moving toward Shepp's third. In the meantime, it looks like Shepp wants to pick off some medevacs as they're coming out. Very nice move by Shepp. And so now he's going to soon see that AngryProbes is in his base attacking his extractor, and so he is going in for the counterattack at this time. Oh, deciding not to, deciding he needs to defend. Siege tanks really need to siege right now, which they are doing, and not a lot of roaches on the field for Shepp. They go down very, very quickly, and now there's just a field day in the back of Shepp's third. It looks like they're going to go down. However, very, very nice getting the Mutalisks in the back of AngryProbes' army. Is going to be able to pick off all of these siege tanks. Perhaps all of these siege tanks, is he's kind of, I don't know what he is targeting right now, as these 3 siege tanks are staying alive. And actually, he got most of the Marines, only a couple of them left, so he will be able to pick off the rest of the units without any kind of trouble. So very nice hold here by Shepp. Dealing with this army, he actually took out a lot. If we look in the units lost tab, well, he is still a little bit behind, but he managed to survive. So that's very good by him. And if we look at the income, even though he lost his third, he is still ahead in the income tab. And so he's not looking too bad. You know, continuing to build units, but look at this. It seems as though AngryProbes is finally building some Thors, which are going to be very effective against these Mutalisks, as their range is just ridiculous. And finally getting that +1 armor attack for his Marines. Make them a little bit stronger, a little bit better against these Mutalisks. And continuing to build Vikings. I don't like this. I think he should continue to build the medevacs. Medevacs are definitely one of the best units for a Terran player to build, especially when he's going such heavy Marine. And oh look, Shepp coming in, destroying the third of AngryProbes, and now AngryProbes is going to have to try to defend whatever he can with his Zerglings. Sadly for him, he did lose that command center, so that is 400 minerals gone, and he will have to rebuild it. And in the meantime, look at this. We finally have some Banelings coming out for Shepp. Baneling's such a strong unit. Might push him into game number 3. especially if he continues this creep spread up. I like this, having creep tumors on both fronts, trying to spread them out as much as possible so that he can continue to push that advantage. And he's also working on getting his third back up finally, so that his economy can continue to be very, very strong. Once again, AngryProbes out on the move, looking to do some damage, going for that third. I'd like to see him get in a better position than he was before, as his tanks were able to be picked off by those Mulists, and it looks like the Mulists are going to fly right over the Thors, and oh, he didn't A-click, and so the Thors are going to be targeted. However, he did stop him and he did stem, and so he will force these Mulists to run away, doing a lot, actually not too much damage. Very luckily for Shepp, AngryProbes did not A-click. Always A-click, AngryProbes, you need to A-click. And now the third will be cancelled once again. AngryProbes very active at denying this third base. And so now Shepp is just kind of waiting, trying to bait him up into his main area, and now he should be pushing forward with his Banelings. The Banelings going in, doing tons of damage to the Marines. Oh my goodness, Marines just die so quickly to Banelings, and now all that's left are a couple of medevacs and some Vikings, and so he will be pushing his Mutilist forward to try to pick off as many of his medevacs as he can. 3 already go down, and 2 more are looking like they could be in trouble. And yeah, it looks like they will indeed be shut down, at least 1 more of them. This is very, very bad for AngryProbes, as those, oh man, all of them went down, and those are such important units in StarCraft 2, because when you stem your Marines, they get really, really soft, and so you need those medevacs healing so you can just continue to stem, continue to do damage. However, because AngryProbes attacked Shepp's third, he was able to get up a third of his own. He will be morphing that into a planetary fortress rather than an orbital command. That way he can get a little bit of extra defense if some Zerglings run in and try to do some damage. However, there are some Mutilists who are looking to attack it, and planetary fortresses cannot shoot up, and so they will be moving forward. Luckily for AngryProbes, he did keep a Thor here as well as some Marines, and he will force those Mutilists to run away. And I like this by Shepp. He's been trying to take this third all game and denied and denied and denied it was, and so he will be taking a base right here because he knows that AngryProbes has not gone this way at all any time in the game, so he should be able to get this up. He has some Mutilists here kind of floating around, making sure he's defending that in case a medevac comes up to do a drop. He could spot it if that were the case, and so Shepp does not want that happening. He wants to keep that base a secret. Also continuing to build Banelings, which is a good choice, and continuing to get upgrades for his Zerglings. He's going to be at 2-2 here pretty shortly, and continuing to build more Zerglings, 12 at a time. And so neither player is looking too close to dead, and oh my gosh, I don't know what happened. Maybe AngryProbes heard me retrospectively, but he found this 4th base by Shepp, and he will be able to take it down. I'm sure this is so annoying for Shepp, as he just has not been able to take and keep a 3rd base, and now he's getting some Zerglings in to try to pick off the Thors. One of the Thors do go down, and a lot of Banelings picking off, oh, so many of the Marines. However, AngryProbes with his wonderful macro has just too many Marines left and too many Thors, so he will finally be pushing across the map a little further, effectively shutting down that 3rd. However, that gave him time to keep the actual 3rd, so that's good for AngryProbes. No, for Shepp, excuse me. But man, AngryProbes just moving back and forth like a pendulum, will be going across to the other side of the map and pushing that other 3rd here very soon. He knows that if he can starve his opponent, he won't be able to do anything. His natural is looking very, very thin, and his main is completely mined out, so he really needs to keep this base if he wants his economy going. In fact, we can see Shepp had been ahead all game, and now AngryProbes is shooting ahead 300 minerals, about 300 minerals per minute more. And so now Shepp is definitely on the defensive. He needs to make sure he has some Zerglings poking around left and right, making sure that the army isn't coming up and trying to attack that 3rd. He's also continuing his creep spread, and just as the Zerglings go by, the Hellions start to move in. They will be seen by the creep, and I'm going to take a quick sip of water here. So now AngryProbes is going to move in and try to attack the 3rd once again. So some Banelings are being morphed in. It really needs those Banelings to do damage, and now Blue Flame has finished for the Hellions. So oh my gosh, a lot of drones are going to be in trouble here, and a lot of Zerglings as well. As he's moving his Hellions back, the Marines are all kind of in a line. The Banelings are, oh my gosh, the Banelings doing so much damage, killing most of the Marines. Only a couple of them left, however, a lot of Thors, and so the third will once again fall. Shepp in a lot of trouble. His income shot down back to the 600s, and so he really needs to make something happen if he wants to stay in this game. He does have the high tech, as well as a lot of gas. If he could get those minerals up, he could change his spire into a greater spire and work on getting those broodlords up, which would be oh so effective. However, it looks like AngryProbes wants to seal the deal, keeping a little bit out of his base, targeting the Banelings. Very nice. Only 2 Banelings left, and it looks like they will go down, keeping all the Marines in the back. Oh man, AngryProbes is just doing a fantastic job here, moving forward as far as he can and picking off whatever he can. The drone's trying to move out, but they get picked off very, very quickly, and now Shepp is in a lot of trouble. There's the GG by Shepp. Well played, says AngryProbes. And yeah, so AngryProbes 2-0ing Shepp. Shepp, I thought you played very, very well, so don't worry about it. Whether this was your first tournament or your 10th, I thought you did well, and you should continue to play tournaments. Same to you, AngryProbes, you played very well. Excuse me. Congratulations to making it to round 2 in the gold and below tournament, and I can't wait to see how you do in the later rounds and continue to cast your games. So these games will be going up very shortly for you all to enjoy, and they will be posted in the Battle.net thread. So once again, thank you so much for letting me cast this gold and below tournament. Good luck to all the players who are watching this and playing. And yeah, this has been Cadoink. I think there's about 1 minute left on this game where they just continue to banter as AngryProbes takes down the rest of the buildings, killing the Baneling nest with his SCVs. So yeah, that's basically the end of that game. Once again, congratulations, AngryProbes. We will see you in round number 2. And yeah, this game is over. Really needs to leave. Guess he's gonna take down the rest of these extractors first. Ooh. Alright. And that's the end of it. 31 minutes exactly. Thank you all for watching. Please comment below. Please like the video. And tell me what more you would like to see. So I will see you guys later.